accidentally installed a ground that created a parallel path? Have you ever had an inspector come to you and say, hey, we need to fix this parallel path? Or just in passing, maybe you've heard people in conversation talk about parallel paths to ground and you didn't really know what they're talking about. You just know that they're bad. Well, we're going to show you a couple of situations where you could easily accidentally create a parallel path. And I actually ran into one today. What's up, Shroosh? I'm going to get rid of this sticker for the time being. Okay, so this was the situation today. And you're going to say, you know, this could never happen. Well, I hate to tell you, but it happened to me. And I saw it firsthand. So this one was actually pretty insane what they had. They have one disconnect here. It was a main disconnect. They had a second disconnect here. We'll call this the sub disconnect. And then they actually had a panel. And we'll draw that over here. And they actually had a panel. And it also had breakers and all the stuff. And this is actually what I saw today. Before we get too far, I might want to get a thicker marker if I could. I got some orange. Orange might work for you guys. Let's see. Yeah, orange is going to be better for this. Yeah. Yeah, so they had two disconnects. And before this disconnect, they actually had a tap can. They actually had a tap can. And I'm going to tell you what, they actually bonded inside of this tap can. What's going on, Big Red? We got Matthew Lever here, Master here. Awesome, dude. Welcome. I'm open to all conversation. I've been an electrical inspector for 8 years. I work for the same electrical company for just under 10. Worked for two other companies for about a year and a half. I got to do infrared for 2 years and probably did about 5 years of solid industrial, heavy industrial. Many master bundles of plaster bond, PLCs, stainless steel, cable tray, not cable tray, gutter, things like that. Did a lot of cable tray too. It wasn't stainless steel though. What's up, Kansas? And we got Joshua Wilson. Sorry I haven't been able to join you guys last 2 nights. I was so tired. I passed out and couldn't keep myself awake. Wow, man. I've been busy. Tired. He said tired. Nice. Okay. This is actually what they had. So if I need to delete all this, I can draw it bigger too. But I just as soon zoom in for you guys. Please, YouTube, will you let me? Perfect. Okay. So now to draw the neutrals. The neutrals would be purple for easy to see and clearly a different color. The neutrals, they actually had another piece of equipment, and these were for townhomes, believe it or not. That's what's kind of crazy here. So they had a tap can from the utility company, okay, and then it came up into a common tap can, which came down to the first disconnect, and then the first disconnect actually fed another disconnect. Do not ask me why, but they did it this way. It literally did it this way. Then I went to the panel that was inside the house. So I can draw the layout of the house here in a second, but what's relevant here is that we had a neutral bus here inside of the service. And this is service. And this is service. so we know what all the service equipment was. Okay, this was a neutral, and they did something interesting. I'm not going to try to draw the neutrals, but I do want to draw the grounds so it's clear. They came out of another box here. There was a box here that had all the UFers in it, and they ran it up into this gutter, and they went down into the service equipment, into the tap can, and they bonded the neutral here, which is something you would do. I mean, you could if you wanted to. I like to see my service grounds inside my first means of disconnect. But they bonded it here, so they did that. And then they came back off of this and they ran it to the service, and they also bonded. They bonded here, and they also tied it to the neutral. So if we draw a neutral bar here, they bonded it all together inside there. And then from there, that ground and the neutral went to the sub panel separate. And if we follow the ground path, it also went to the sub panel that was inside. And we got a neutral there. And we got a neutral bar there that's isolated. Those were isolated. This was bonded together here. They did a couple of things. I'm going to show you how you can create a parallel path pretty easily, which would be, we're going to come back to that. I'm actually going to delete this or erase it, whatever. Just keep that in mind, right? That was what they did. When we're talking about a parallel path, if we have a piece of equipment here and it's service equipment and it's coming from a transformer, utility, whatever, and it goes into the top, okay? You have the neutral from the utility. It comes down and it hits the neutral bar. Now, this is where our equipment grounds are born, inside this service equipment. And you have a ground bar here. The ground bar's job is to get all of the current off of all your equipment ground conductors, like on your receptacles and things. Its only job is to get current back to the neutral so that we can go back to the source to trip the breaker. That's the only job. So if we've got anything that's metal likely to become energized, anything that can become energized, especially metal, things like that, it lands on your ground bar. And you're only going to bond here at the source. When we add a second piece of equipment to the mix, we have a ground bar here. And we have a neutral bar here. And these stay isolated because what's going to happen is we're going to have a neutral. We're actually going to draw the pipe. We're going to go ahead and draw the pipe to make it clear what's going on here. There's our pipe. We have a neutral conductor on the neutral. It's going to jump over the ground bar and lands on that neutral. And we have a ground wire, green. And it lands there. They don't touch it all in here. If they did touch, if we think of like a pool, or we think of a bucket, or some kind of body of water that we are trying to drain, right? And we have one hose that's draining it. When we think about current, we think about the current as the pressure. the thickness of the hose would be the resistance, and more or less the water would kind of be the voltage, if you will. If we're draining at a rate of, let's just say, just a number, if we're draining at the rate of 2, this pond here, right? If we're draining at a rate of 2 and we put another hose in here that's the same, this is also going to drain at a rate of 2. So the same thing's happening here. If we bond our grounds and neutrals together, and I'm trying to make this very, very simple so that we can talk about some really technical stuff here in a second, and then I'm going to check the chat. If our grounds and neutrals are touching here, and they're touching here, this, what we call an equipment ground conductor, is essentially a neutral. For all intents and purposes, yeah, sure, it's a ground, but it may as well be a neutral because it's carrying the current. It's carrying half of the current. You've just divided it in 2. So whatever current that we had on our neutral, if we bond our grounds and neutrals together with a bar here, whatever current that we have on the neutral is now also on the ground in half. So if we had 10 amps on the neutral, we just put 10 amps on our ground wire until we got to this point. And that's how that works. And you can do this very, very quickly. You can mess some stuff up very quickly. So if we have underground water piping that we're supposed to be bonding to, I'm going to get rid of this here. We're now isolated in the sub panel. I'm going to write on there. Isolated here and bonded here. If we have underground metal water pipe, copper, they're supposed to use as an electrode. We want to bond to this to create kind of an equal playing field of what the voltage in the area is going to be on the earth. This isn't really creating our actual ground. Our actual ground was already created by the grounded conductor, which is a neutral, and the green is the grounding conductor. This grounding electrode doesn't really decide our voltage. It can help with that, but the neutral already did that because it's the source to our transformer. So what we're doing is, if it's likely to become energized, if it's metal pipe, things like that, if current gets on it, we can get the current off of it to get back to the source. If we got a gradient voltage where there's voltage coming in this direction, right? We've got a means to grab it and put it kind of back to the source. We can dissipate current. It's great for lightning strikes because we can get any of that current back to the earth where it came from. But grounding electrodes don't really do anything else for us. What trips the breaker is the ground tied to the neutral at the source. And you want to limit how many times you bond for this reason. So if this was an old sub panel in the closet and we happened to leave the old, right, because it used to be the service equipment, this is pretty common. So this panel here used to be the service panel, and it was in the closet. And we left that old number 6, which was no longer the proper size, but we thought to ourselves, hey, more grounding is better than less grounding. So we left it bonded. And we left that number 6 on this ground wire. We've unfortunately created a parallel path because you've got, in the worst way too, because any current that was on the neutral is now going to be, half on the ground, and we just introduced current to our pipe to get current back to the source. So without even knowing it, we just energized this metal water pipe. We didn't exactly energize it because it's ground. But if we got in between it, if someone was down here and they're doing a repair, and this was not continuous, and they got in between it and completed the circuit, however many amps is on that pipe just went across that person's heart. Which is why you see that viral video of the sink that's, electrified and sparking at the P-trap. So I drew a pretty simple scenario over here because I actually saw it, but it's actually much worse than this, and takes a little bit of attention to detail to understand what was going on. So essentially, they just had everything bonded here, and they just created multiple neutrals. Let me check the panel. Government stopped your stream. See if I can catch up with the chat. Anything notable? I can see I am behind on the chat. Okay. Let me see here. Always goes to the first means of addiction. Exactly, Matthew. Okay, this is actually the situation that I saw today. Similar to this, but actually much worse and a little bit more technical. And this is what I want to talk about because it's not obvious. We always think that we can take one ground back to the source, right? If we're going to do a gutter, we got a gutter down below here. This is our wireway, if you will, right? And we always think, the tap can's usually over here sorry. Drew a little bit bigger than I thought I did. Okay. Tap can's always over here somewhere, right? We'll just put a source. Usually it's a box with a gutter that goes into there. And it's sitting here. Let me zoom out just a little bit. There you go. That's the source. And usually if you're walking up on one of these and the building's already established, you might wind up with a ground lug inside the back of one of these gutters. And all the service wires in here. And then typically you're going to see multiple disconnects is what you're going to see coming out of this gutter. Right? And then you'd run your grounds out of the gutter is what you would do. Well, that's what these guys did, but I'm going to show you how they royally messed it up because they thought that one number 4 was going to be good for everything. So in this case, they had 2 gutters overhead. Okay. And they had the tap can down below. And they had 2 pipes here. And 2 pipes here. This is that bar that we talked about. This is the neutral bar. I'm going to draw it in green. Essentially the neutral. Same thing, grounds, neutral, same thing at the source, right? They ran their UFER to this neutral bar. And then out of here, out of this tap can, they had 4 different disconnects here. 1, 2, 3, 4 different disconnects, okay? What we know is we only need one number 4 for our grounding. So they did that. They ran one number 4 from this point up here, and they hit a ground bar. And then they ran an individual number 4 to each disconnect. Right? Remember we talked about they bonded the neutral here. So this is the source. They also bonded the neutral in here. Okay, these are 200 amps each. I'm going to let you guys catch up in the chat. If this wire here is number 4, one single number 4 from this common ground plate. This is number 4 to the UFER. They had equipment grounds that went down, so the equipment grounds went to another panel gutter or whatever. So the equipment went down. So the equipment grounds. This is all service equipment up here, and they did the same thing on this side. On this side here. If these are rated at 200 amps, these disconnects here, this is 200 amps. What we know about a service ground for 200 amps, it's not about the amperage, it's about the area of the largest ungrounded conductor. 250.66 says that 4-aught aluminum, 2-aught copper, 3-aught copper, whatever you got, you're going to need a number 4 for your service ground, which they did. It was number 4. So that was number 4. That was number 4. Is this single number 4 sufficient to carry the burden of all 4 of those disconnects back to the source for that to be a bonded neutral? You got no overcurrent protection on this. This is all service grounds. We've got number 4 going to a common ground plate. They bonded each disconnect, which they shouldn't have done, but they did. So they created a parallel path. I pointed to the electrician. I said, you know what? That's actually a neutral. It's not a service ground. You've got a number 4 neutral on a 200 amp service. You've also got a number 4 service ground, and you've also got, a 2-aught neutral. So they had their neutrals going through. The neutrals were 2-aught. And as they should be, you can size it, 70%? You can downsize your neutral a little bit. So they ran the neutral up there too, to each one, right? But when you install this like this, when you bond your grounds at your sub panel or at your service disconnect, and you bond your grounds and neutrals at the source, a number 4 ain't going to cut it, because this is now a neutral, because you have just installed current by a multiplier of 4. My fingers aren't working. Multiplier of, that's 3. What the hell's wrong with me? 4. Multiplier of 4. One panel there, one panel there, one there, one there. We're taking, and they're essentially neutrals because they bonded here and they bonded here. They created a parallel path. They've got number 4 only to support what a 2-aught should be for the neutral. What's your thoughts? Nice drawing, Coach. I appreciate that. So once you start using the right lingo, I told the electrician, I was like, man, that is a service ground, but technically let's wrap our head around this being a neutral for a second, because you've got parallel paths. So there's no question about it. There's current on that ground, and there's current on that neutral. That's just the way it works. And we've got, let's just let's just entertain the thought of 20 amps on this neutral, 20 amps here, 20 amps here, 20 amps here. You got 80 amps in neutral here. Better yet, let's get a fault on some pipe catastrophically where we need to clear the fault of what, pretty much 500 kc mil of wire at the same time on a number 4. So it's really, really easy to mess this up. Better yet, what they did, now that I've gotten this drawn out, they did the exact same thing on this side here, right? But remember, these were the actual disconnects. They had sub disconnects, and they bonded the subs. They bonded the subs also to the UFER here. And then, you know, so they had the ground leaking, and then they also had a ground rod here, which I thought was interesting. And the utility company signed off on this. They had a ground rod at the sub disconnect. So unfortunately, like it or not, you know, there is, in a way, the potential for current to be leaking through the earth now, trying to get back to the source, because that's what it's going to do, you know? It's just trying to complete the circuit, because essentially this is a neutral, because they bonded here, you know, and they bonded here, and just everything's bonded. So it's really, really easy to mess this up, like really, really easy. So when we're dealing with, especially these existing houses with the sub panels in the closet, it's really important to get that original number 6 that's no longer fired adequately. You know, get it off of that ground bar and make sure that everything stays isolated at the sub. Make sure you only bond at the service. A lot of people see those extra grounds. When I first started inspecting, my thought was, what's that ground going to do other than just give it more grounding energy, right? That's kind of what some people think. You know, you just get more ground on that ground. But no, you're really creating multiple little tiny circuits. And if you don't do it right, or you do it just right, depending on how you look at it, you can wind up introducing current on grounds that, you know, nobody really treats grounds with respect. Sometimes they don't even put a wire nut on them. They just kind of tie them together, you know, halfway and just cram them in the back of the box. If you've got a parallel path where this ground is trying to connect to the other grounds and it's part of a circuit, you can actually wind up with arcing and stuff on that ground, which is not great for computers. And it's really not good for your house, you know, because you can have a loose connection where you end up starting a fire. I think one of the things, stop calling it ground. Is it grounded or is it grounding? Yeah. So ground would be green, grounded would be white or neutral, whatever, and grounding would be green, I guess you want to call it. So we can say bonded. Bonded would be if you take something that's one source or one potential and you attach it to something in a suitable manner to where now they're both the same value. That would be bonded. What size was the service drop feeder? The service drop feeders were, so it was underground, it was lateral, but the service drop feeders were 3/0 copper. And the pipe E is bonded, so current on the nipple and the gutter. Yeah, exactly. You're grounded. Current in the back of the box. Yeah. Current divides equal on paths. Yeah, exactly. So that's just one scenario that I saw today, man. There's a bunch of scenarios that I see every day, but that one was just, I mean, pretty bad, pretty bad. If you don't stop and take your time and really look at what's going on, you know, you're not going to give somebody a good product at the end of the day. I had one where this guy he put a 2-inch box into a 6x6, so he put a 2-inch. Came out of his ATS here. Came out with a 2-inch PVC. He went through a fence. I'm not going to draw the fence, but he went through a fence and he came into a box. 6x6, by the way. Hole was here, and the hole was less than 3 inches away from the other hole. And then he went back into what is now the sub panel inside the house to feed it. Let me zoom in. That was way too much. Yeah, so 2-inch PVC, ATS, 6x6 box, and the holes were not spaced but 3 inches apart. And he ran 2-aught copper. So inside of there was 2-aught copper. Right? Actually had good service grounds. He had 3 grounds actually in there. He had 2 grounds that were service and 1 ground that was equipment, and they were isolated properly. He did irreversible crimps in the original panel because grounding electrodes have to be continuous. They got to be irreversibly crimped or CAD welded or something like that. So he had irreversibly crimped the cold water. He had irreversibly crimped the ground rods. He had sent them back through this box, and then he had a separate equipment grounding conductor on the isolated sub panel that went out to the source, which was ATS. Did a really good job on it. Yeah, bending radius, man. If we look at 314 here, I'll read you exactly what the code says on 314 because it's not pretty. See here. I looked for this code the other day in this book, and for the life of me, I couldn't find it for some reason, for whatever reason. But we're going to attempt to find it again, because here it is here. So straight poles, the multiplier is 8, and angle poles, the multiplier is 6. And we're looking in 31428A. And it says for raceways containing conductors of number 4 or larger, this is where it applies. So what it says is where splices or where angle U-poles are made, the distance between each raceway entry inside the box or conduit and the opposite wall of the box or conduit body shall not be less than 6 times the metric designator of the largest raceway in a row. The multiplier 6. He's got 2-inch pipe. He needs a 12 by 12. And technically he's supposed to maintain spacing, of such 12. So be careful out there, when you're doing things. Can't show pictures anymore, man. Used to have pictures, used to have electrical mistakes to avoid series, and I can't share all the good stuff. How does that TV work? I actually took the TV out of here, put it in my daughter's room, and we built that whole TV stand thing the other day. Gonna get another one. I haven't done math, but I always use a 12 by 12 for 2-aught. Yeah, there you go. Copper means police officers. The early badges were stamped on copper. Nice. So anyway, I'm not sure what we're gonna do for a live, man. My brother's coming down out of town, out of state, far away. So I've been trying to get that room set up and be doing that. So I don't know if we're gonna go live tomorrow. If my 860 comes in, we'll probably go live tomorrow. But if it doesn't get here, then we might not go live. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, he said, you are the let not two privately converse to the exclusion of their companion, for that will sadden him. Exactly. That's why we don't say anything about who did it. But we do want to let you guys know that it's being done by professionals with licenses, reputable companies. And, the moment that you take your eye off the ultimate prize, which, just integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking, getting lazy, if you will, it can get you. I'm new to the electric field, looking forward to learning as much as possible. Nice. What are you, first year? The best advice I can give you if you are trying to learn as much as possible is just be like a sponge and try to figure out what's the next thing you're going to need. And just pay attention. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And if you're in a situation where somebody doesn't like you asking questions, let them know, man. I'm here to learn. I know the industry is like a revolving door, and people don't stick around for a long time. But let them know you want to learn. You're there to learn. Be the best electrician that you can be. And if they still don't want to teach you, better luck on the next job. If you're in a smaller company, I don't know what to tell you, but just don't feel like you're too old or know too much to do the simplest tasks. Even on jobs where people get less busy, you'll see foremen that are sweeping. It's called busy work. Hurry up and wait. It happens all the time. They say, hey, we're going to get this done. We need you to do this so we can do this. And then it gets down to the wire and they're not ready for you. And then you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs. Everybody's done it. No one's too old to sweep. No one's too old to have a broom. I know there's an electrician joke in there somewhere. But it's the truth, though. I ask questions all the time as a first year. Yeah. Greatest document ever written. Only dumb questions are the ones not asked. Yeah. Nice. Are you in some kind of apprenticeship program? Trade school? You by any chance in North Texas? I've never seen an electrician sweep. Yeah, it's pretty rare. A lot of these jobs that are, not jobs, but contractors that are more well known will have almost like a cleaning day on Friday, and they'll grab an apprentice from every trade, if you will. They'll grab the lowest guy on the totem pole, and they'll take your man hours from your company, and every trade has to clean the job site. We got to sweep, and we got to do all kinds of stuff. You just be throwing floor sweep and sweeping all day and picking up. And that's pretty common out here. So I think it's good. I think it builds character, and it definitely weeds out who's here to stay for the long haul. A lot of companies use digging to do that, but I don't think digging is a good way to find out if somebody is going to stick around for the long haul. Because when I was young, I had a lot of energy, man. But now I'm not young. And I don't know if I could be out in the heat like I was back then, I used to spend pretty much 6 hours out of the day just in 110-degree weather, digging trenches for like months. Be slamming water. Be drinking a bottle of water every 20 minutes. What's up, Net 420? Nice, in Germany. You got the Knipex over there, huh? And the Wagos. A lot of people forget, man, that the wire in I don't want to say just Germany. I'd say, the whole UK, just over there, the wire's different. It's a lot of cord. Can't blame a guy for trying. It's a lot of cord, So a lot of the tools that we use in America aren't really designed for cord because cord is flexible, so they use stranded. So you guys have a lot of crimping tools. You have a lot of ferrules. You have a lot of terminal strips. You have Wagos. We don't have a lot of that. We have Romex, which if you compare it to your stuff, it's like archaic, right? But we're able to twist our joints. We got wire nuts. We got plastic boxes. It's terrible over here. I live in Southern California and have electrical training number with my state of California after completing my schooling from a California state approved electrical school. It sounds like they're more with it, man. It really does sound like you should get paid a little bit more if you're going to be going through those paces. Out here, all you got to do, you can go online right now. Go to TDLR, which is the Texas licensing, and just apply for an apprentice license. I think it's like $25. And then tomorrow, or actually as soon as you sign, you can go work for anybody as an apprentice. I should see your PLC panels. I do want to see your PLC panels, man. I miss that stuff so much. I miss industrial. We used to just sit for hours on ends in front of PLC cabinets and just peel labels for hours. That was the good old times. Air conditioned. Wasn't always air conditioned, but for the most part it was. You gotta. Back then the cabinet was $750K. I would hate to think how much they are now. You got a stainless steel PLC cabinet that's like 7 foot tall, 8 foot wide, and you got, I don't know, 4 3-inches with like 700 number 14s going to it. Just sitting in front of that cabinet for weeks. Where I grew up, I want to be a quantum mechanic. Nice. Yeah, I'd like to see your PLC. Man, I wish I could find all my old photos. Show you my pipe work, dude. It was a work of art, dude. I was really proud of my pipe work. I wish I had those photos because I'd do aluminum rigid, and it would just all be contoured, 20 feet in the air, and you have like an offset with a 90, and then going down to the gutter, and man, it was great. Miss those days a lot. Nice hat, appreciate it. I work on the farm grain mill, so I had to learn to fix them myself, and they're not cheap. I've got 11 just in the room. Across the site would drive me crazy. Air conditioning, you never were an electrician in a steel mill, I guess. No. Well, I did infrared at the Simpson Strong Tie plant. And I did ducting there. And ducting, if you don't know, so you got megging, which is with a megometer, and that uses high voltage to check the insulation of conductors to determine if it's good or not. Ducting uses high amperage to test connections. So if we had a loose connection, on a panel, actually I'll be right back. Haha, look what I found. All right, so if we're to do a ductor here, we could go from this lug to this bus bar on the back there. And that would tell us if this nut was loose or not. Now, that's a little 2024 California going. Nate, how's that title, 2024 stuff? I don't know anything about it. We're currently learning how to program PLCs using Logic Program. I'm in UK. For people like myself who live in the we certainly do take it for granted. I don't take it for granted. I know what I've got, man. I'm trying to hang on to every bit I got, as you can see. Every bit. They're trying to strip it away though. So yeah, I don't know if we're gonna go live tomorrow. But got another full day of work tomorrow, so we'll definitely have something else to talk about tomorrow. I just see crazy stuff, man. I see the craziest stuff with the most self-entitled people. It's getting worse and worse. You got this generation of just people. I mean, they kind of suck. Let's be honest. I know, bud, that's the start of the whole conversation. Dairy and beef steers and crops. Oops, my bad. I meant Jonathan in California. It says Title 24 helping out. Nice. On radioactive waves. Nice. So we'll probably do a live if the 860 from DeWalt comes in tomorrow. But if it doesn't, we'll probably just put out a video or something. I don't know. But a grain, mostly wheat, oats, and barley, but dabble in most grain. Nice. Yeah, I believe that, Shroosh. I really do. Let's look at Article 500 in for granaries in the classification location. So let's look at. Let's see if we can find it here. Let's do this. We're gonna see if we can find this code here. Drop a link and I will. Nice. Okay, we got the code book here. When I find what I'm looking for, I'll show you here. But first we gotta find. This is the locations here. All right. I got all kinds of stuff on this table. Okay. There is a spot in here that talks about the divisions and the classes and all the stuff. So we got to start at the beginning so we can find out what hazardous location you're in. So I don't know off the top of my head. And then pretty soon, I think for fun, we're just gonna do a practice test. Like I might spend just $50 one day and then just do a whole practice test of how many questions are on the journeymans. And we'll probably get it done in about maybe 35, 40 minutes, even though they give you 4 hours. That's how long it took me to get all my tests done. So I think we should be able to knock out that live maybe about an hour and a half at the longest, I would think. If we just went through every question and showed you guys how to find it, where it's all located and all that. You guys go let me know how that sounds though. So what we're looking for right now is we're trying to figure out what location. So first off, we've got class 1 locations. Class 1 locations are flammable gases, flammable liquid, produced vapors, or combustible liquid, produced vapors may be present. And then a Class 1 Division 1 is ignitable concentrations, flammable gases, things like that. So we know we're not that one. A Class 1 Division 2, it's going to be, the division's just going to be a little bit more strict. And so we know Class 1 is going to be ignitable, flammable gases. Class 2 is going to be hazardous because the presence of combustible dust, which is where a granary would be. So if we look at probably a Class 2, and then if we look at a Class 3, that's going to be hazardous because of the presence of easily ignitable fibers, or where materials producing combustible flyings are handled. So that would be like a sawmill or something like that. Even your workshop could be a Class 2, technically speaking, if you had enough, flying small wood dust, things like that. So you're going to be in a Class 2, and then it's going to say a Division 1 would be incombustible dust in the air under normal operating conditions in quantity sufficient to produce explosive or ignitable mixtures, or a mechanical failure or abnormal operation of machinery or equipment might cause such explosive ignitable mixtures to be produced. So the Division 1 is going to apply for something if an accident was to happen or something abnormal was to fail. That's when you're going to have an explosion. That would be a Division 1. Division 2 is going to be where just a normal accumulation of materials stacked up in an area could cause a problem. So as you get through the different divisions, you can see where it's getting more and more strict. If you're in a granary, the minimum you're going to be is going to be a Class 2 Division 1. And there's another spot to find that. We can look in agricultural buildings in 220, I think. I'm trying to think exactly where. Where would that be? Let's keep looking at what's required. So dust type is what we're going to be looking in. Hang on. I can't get my journeyman's license because I haven't completed 8,000 hours of apprenticeship, but the state will hold it for me in California. That's awesome. This channel's for electrician, right? Yes, correct. All kinds of stuff in this table. That's how you know you're an electrician. Oh, yeah. Could you see all this stuff, man? I got all kinds of stuff. We have to be a complete non-smoking site, etc., because of dust explosion. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks. Also, I've only been farming for the last 5 years. Still enjoying Lloyd. I don't know a lot about farming, man, but let's keep looking at it. So dust ignition proof would be Class 2, Division 1 or 2. Dust tight is protection technique shall be permitted for equipment Class 2, Division 2, or Class 3. And then you just got all the requirements for the installation of a Class 2 area, which is what the dust is. And it just goes on to tell you, everything about how to install. That's where you wind up with your explosion-proof fittings. And your explosion-proof fittings aren't because they can withstand an explosion. Explosion-proof fittings are so an explosion can't happen. So when you see an explosion-proof light, that just means that no gas or vapor can get inside that light fixture. You get like an FS box or something. That's a really sealed box to where if you got a receptacle in there, and you might have arcing because someone didn't tighten up the lugs on it, the arcing can't escape the box, or you can't get fibers inside of the box, or gases, or whatever it might be. That's where you start installing that stuff. When I was in the community state college, we had engineers that were in the same classes as the electricians. Nice. Nice, Big Red. Tomorrow's your last day of driver's ed. Does that mean you're going to get your license, or do you still have to take the test? After you do driver's ed, do you still have to take the test? It's actually pretty smooth brandy. I'm not an electrician, but I work on some controls for the Title 20/24 California Building Code, so I know a tiny bit about that. Nice. That car has anger issues. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that soon. It won't be this weekend, but I will post about it because I don't want to spend $50 for nothing. So I will advertise if we are gonna do a full-on practice test. I thought about doing it tonight and just going on like test.com and just doing like a practice one. We did that the other night. I should probably label that live better. We got every question right. I think we did like 30 of them or something. But just shows you what the process is. How do I know where to go, where I'm going? Not just because I know where everything is in the code book, but what are the keywords to look for? How to go to the back of the book to find the keywords. Usually the .10s is going to be uses permitted, or yeah, let's just look at that. It was dark and I was on YouTube, hit the only thing in the field. FFS. Because I've completed my schooling, they will allow me to take my state journeyman test and they will hold my card until I complete my 8,000 hours. Yeah. That's awesome. I worked for Leviton for 7 years in engineering in the commercial lighting controls, which included some power controls. That's pretty cool. Leviton's got some pretty cool products, man. I'm not a fan of codes pushing products, though, which seems to be what the code's all about right now. Leviton's extremely guilty of it. I'm just going to say Leviton came to our city, I guess you would say, and wanted to know if we were going to accept the arc fault devices that are breakers, and would we allow them to protect the whole circuit, right? Because those things were never tested with Square D. They were never tested with GE. They were never tested with Cutler Hammer. They are standalone devices that were bench tested to sense arcs. They were never tested with other manufacturers' breakers. So they don't have a full listing to protect the whole circuit, I guess you would say. So the short answer is that's why inspectors will not let you use an arc fault device to protect the whole circuit without doing X, Y, and Z in the code. There's certain things that you can do where 50 and 70 feet, depending on the size of your wire, you can run from your panel 50 or 70 feet, depending on the size of your wire, and you're going to run it an EMT or MC cable. You're going to run to that first outlet, junction box, if you will. You're going to label it what it is. Then you're going to install that arc fault device inside that box. And then just like a GFCI, you can line/load it to where you can come off the load side of that arc fault receptacle to protect the other devices downstream. But for the whole circuit to be arc faulted, it can't be, because technically speaking, the breaker was a standard breaker and you ran 70 feet to get to the first arc fault. So Leviton was very curious, if we were going to be able to use the devices, and the answer is no. So they could have a need to fill with the products. Yeah, exactly. Also, when you guys do an install, do you have to have an independent inspection, or can you sign off it yourself? No, we're going to get an independent inspection. So even as an inspector, if I do something to my house, which I did, by the way, I put in that panel, we put in an interlock. I've got a permit pending. Not done the work yet, but I got a permit for a sub panel, and we're going to be adding an EMT pipe run in the attic. Or no, not in the attic, on the ceiling, to run to the actual generator receptacle outside. And that's going to have to be inspected if I don't want liability for insurance things. So definitely gotta get an inspection. If you don't get an inspection on your stuff, don't expect things to go good when you go to sell your house, or when something bad happens and the insurance company wants a paper trail. All right, so if we look at like 334, let's just go 334. We're going to see here that dot 10 here is use as permitted, like I said earlier. Trying to zoom in. Use is permitted, 334.10. If I go to another code, whatever it is, we want to look at SE cable, and we want to see uses permitted, it's also going to be a .10. So let's see here, 38.2.6.10 right there. Let me find it. This thing is zoomed in so freaking far, man. Right there, .10, uses permitted. So at least they kept the code simple with that respect. See you later, Big Red. That's crazy over here. I assume that the electrician knows what they're doing and they sign off after. I've never really heard of Americans talk Makita, to be honest. It's assumed that the electrician knows what they're doing and they sign off on it? No way, man. All I do is see crazy stuff every day. Makita blows the drills and impacts, but they rock a grinder, sander, router, and saws. I will tell you what, man. I had the Makita sander because of the name. Dad had Makita. I bought the one with the handle that was like $140, so I could do some cabinetry and stuff, and it was actually pretty terrible. The dust collection sucked. It just wasn't a good sander. At least that one wasn't. DeWalt makes a better sander. even if it breaks. Just buy another one after 4 or 5 years. DeWalt makes a damn good sander. What's up, Paul W? Appreciate it. And we got Rodney Widger over here now. What's going on? I have to wait until August to get my license, and tomorrow's my last day of driver's ed. So are they just going to give you your license, Big Red, or are you going to have to retake a test or anything? NMB was made to be installed in attics before it was called Romex. That's 60-degree installations. Yeah, exactly. You get the DIY cheap one, not the expensive one. That's probably true, Sayer. Don't get me wrong, it's not always the best plan. I found a contractor had been jammed in with a contactor had been jammed in with a screwdriver the other day. That's awesome. My hat's got a lot of tension. That's good. If you can find the DeWalt sander at the 4-amp kit at Lowe's, I saw a tag for $37 today. I tell you what, dude, that 4.0, I don't know which 4.0 you're talking about, but if it's the one I think it is, it's the flat battery. This is the one thing that's upset me the most, that I've had to replace, because we had to replace all of our tools, was my 850 from DeWalt and my 4.0 DeWalt battery. Because the 4.0 DeWalt battery, I don't have, this. The 4.0 DeWalt battery is the same size as this 3.0. And it's a great battery. I've done a couple of videos on it. I know we talked about it in the lives. It's a great battery. It's just a little bit wide, but it's one of my favorite DeWalt batteries ever made. And it's light, and it's slim. Yeah, the slim one. Yeah, dude, that, man, I got that battery with a multi-tool. And out of all the things, because my buddy came over not that long ago, and he gave me $800, and I gave him a flex rear handle saw, 3 flex 5-amp hour batteries. I gave him an M12. No, I gave him a flex jigsaw. I gave him an M12 oscillating tool. I gave him an M12 impact. I gave him a DeWalt multi-tool. I gave him a DCD 998. I gave him an 8-amp hour DeWalt battery. That's not even half of what I gave the dude for just $800. I gave him all my Harbor Freight clamps, the branded ones, the nice ones, the parallels. Yeah, he made off good, but I couldn't breathe next to the tools. I have a few of them 4.0s. Maybe I can hook you up. Yeah, dude, I will absolutely take that, man. I don't ask anybody for anything, dude. And I don't expect anything, and I don't feel any sense of entitlement to nothing. But that would be very nice of you. We'll see you later, Big Red. We should become close friends. Yeah, man, I agree. I like the way you turned out the TV. It turned out pretty good, man. I've done it before with something. I can't even think what I built. I built so many things, man. Oh, fireplace enclosure. So if you get one of those electric fireplaces, and if you get like a big walk-in shower or something, you got like an empty wall in your bathroom, you can install one of those like fireplaces against the wall. They're only like that wide. And all you have to do is just trim it out with some 1x6 on either side. And then, you've almost got a built-in towel warmer because the air comes off and you put the towels underneath of it. And you get a little shelf above it. And we did the same thing at my last house. I will call Makita, tell them your story and how you lost everything, and now you have the brain damage from mold, and to get them to send you some free tools. It's probably not far from the truth, man. I tell you what, dude, check this out. Check this out. I'm gonna show you something crazy. You want to see something crazy? I'm gonna show you something crazy. These glasses are in a bag for a reason. So we went to the pool today. These are my sunglasses. We went to the pool today and we walked. It's not a community pool because it's not an HOA, but it is it's a local pool with a membership and all that stuff. So we walked to the pool less than 5 minutes. And I can't breathe very good. My throat hurts. I get instant congestion. Now I'm thinking about it. I think that I can smell it through the bag, like it's bothering me a little bit. So I'm gonna get out of the house. But these glasses are in a bag for a reason, man. I have to put them in the garage because whatever it is, I do not know what the hell this stuff is. It's embedded in everything. I threw them in the bottom of the pool and just let them sit there for like 5 minutes to see if I could drown whatever's on them. I scrubbed them underwater. Please read your previous comment. Let me see. I don't know anything about propane tanks, man. To be clear, I was commenting about the great deal you gave your friend. That's why I said we should become close friends. I wasn't crushing on you. It's all good, man. It's all good. That's funny. You're making Jamie jealous over there. Yeah, so these are in a bag for a reason because I literally can't even breathe. I've got a bunch of things in bags that I can't breathe in, but this was the latest one. Can't even walk down the street outside without my throat burning. That's wild. Your stuff contains a plague. Sorry to hear that. It does, man. It's so crazy. Minimum state requirement in California for a pool is 2 parts per million for chlorine. I don't know if that's a lot or a little bit, but I think any chlorine, man, is bad. They shouldn't be putting in our drinking water. We're Bermuda, man. We drink rainwater. We don't have a city pipe that brings water to your house. You got a tank, triple filtered, catch the rainwater on the roof. You got pipes. All your roofs are white, and they whitewash them. And then your gutter system like catches the rain and then takes the pipes down to a tank. You literally catch all your rainwater. 2 ppm is very little. Man, recon tape measure, fanboys get butt hurt easy. That's pretty funny. Dude, can you imagine like having a tape measure and you're pulling a line like this or something, right? And this hand is full because it's holding something. And right before you nail it, you just want to give it a little bump with your tape measure, as you should be able to, just to, straighten it up or whatever you're doing, right? I do all kinds of crazy things with my tape measure that you shouldn't do. Um, no, dude, we do not need a digital tape measure. It's just one of those things we don't need. Granddaughters are good, man. Do you want to get sick from a pool? Or do you want to get sick from drinking water? Well, I'd rather get sick from I don't know, man. They're just poisoning everything at this point. It doesn't even matter. But I don't think chlorine is the way to go to clean your water. If someone gave me an inch, I think it was a ruler. I think I was a ruler. $200 to $300. That's got you game of money. For me, not a seen TV junk money. Yeah, yeah. Are they that much? Are they $200 or $300? That's wild, dude. That's a lot for a tape measure. That I don't even know what to think about that. I think some of my comments are being tagged by YouTube for review. Maybe it would let me know on this side, I would think. Let me see. Let me go here. I like Clorox on my toilet and sink, but what do I know? What's up? What's up, QWERTY? But what many people can do is digital. YouTube deletes mine frequently. Chlorine will off gas quickly and vitamin C will remove it instantly. Do you think saltwater pools are healthy? That's what we were in. We were in a saltwater pool. They generate chlorine though. It's still a chlorine generator. It's really weird how it works, but that's what this was. It was a saltwater pool. The point is that I can't drown it. Like I tried to keep it at the bottom of the pool because there's no air down there, but it just doesn't matter, man. I cannot escape this stuff. There's nothing that I can keep. And I knew that my glasses were probably gonna bother me because whenever I warrantied these out, I had a scratch on them, and when I warrantied them out and I got my new ones, when I took them off and then I put them back on, I realized the new ones. I realized that I could breathe better with my new glasses, which is pretty wild when you stop and think about it. Hard to explain, man. I can't even begin to explain to you how the stuff just envelops the air around me. Most pools have less chlorine than tap water. That's what I'm saying. If you ever get somebody in your house and they're trying to sell you one of these water softeners or reverse osmosis things, one of the tests they'll take your tap water, they'll put the dye in there, and it's not a dye, but it turns yellow if you have chlorine, right? And they'll put that in your tap water. And then you'll pour another glass of tap water. You'll put it in your mouth, but you won't swallow it. You're just going to swish it around your mouth. And they have you spit it back into the glass, just the water. And then they test it, and it no longer has chlorine in it because your body is the filter of the chlorine. If you haven't had that happen to you, man, you'll buy a water softener system real quick when that happens. Just just don't let them in your house. That's all I can tell you. They'll do things and show you what's in your water that you don't even want to know about. NSA water filter in the 80s. Yeah. I'm trying to find a replacement for Milwaukee that pissed me too far today with warranty issues they did not fix. I'm angry. $260 worth of tools and batteries. Dang. Please tell me there's no such thing as a $200 to $300 tape measure. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately there is. Pretty terrible. Did you guys see that LED light video that I put out? I think I'm going to wind up putting them in here. I think. I don't really know. Oh, $2,600 worth. You missed a zero. Well, that can happen. That sucks. Can I get a wrench? Yeah, dude. There you go. This guy drunk yet? Not yet, man. We just a little bit. We got that fridge that makes ice balls though, which is pretty cool. You know, we went from being really comfortable financially. The house was $1,400 for the mortgage. And that was like that was the biggest bill. Like that was it. We pretty much tripled that at this house. And it's like a third of the size. And I don't even care, man. I don't even miss it at all. It's kind of upsetting to think about, like in the grand scheme of things. But man, it was so bad there, dude. Our new fridge has an ice ball maker though, which is pretty dope. Was it UV wand or velvet wand or something like that kind of BS? Give me a second. No, it was a little floor lamp that actually projected a really nice beam of light. Actually threw some pretty good color, and you could dim it. And it will do effects like this. Let's see here. Oh, I think these are just red. These are just red. But, well, you can't even see. They do things like this. And then if you set this up like this, and you turn off the lights, you know, it gives a different kind of a light effect, but it wasn't these things. These things are junk compared to that other thing. That other thing that we got is really, really cool. LEDs are horrible, usually in the spectrum and flicker. There are some okay ones. Yeah. The power is going to go straight to your head. If you ain't in bed by 10, just come on home. What's up, Nathan? I use the filament LEDs now for the fiber optic strips. Interesting. After burning steel at night for 3 years and 7 years testing lighting, my eyes are sensitive to light. I can't stand most LED lighting. That's pretty legit. The way my eyes work, here, let me see if I can show you what I see. See how thick these are? Which is the thick one? This one. Put it up to the camera. There you go. So when I look through that lens, I actually look clear on my screen. No telling what you guys saw. But you would not believe how bad my vision is without my glasses. So I'm really sensitive to light, but I've got to have light to see. So in a lot of cases, I've got to shine light at light to see through it. I need like very, very white, just light everywhere. Hey, now I can see you put them back. Snap on is more like hard balls. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Would I get snap on if I was like a master of my craft? I can see where I'd buy a lot of snap on stuff, but not all of it. Certainly wouldn't buy the toolboxes. You can't convince me that. Some of the hammers, some of the dead blow hammers, some of the ratchets, man. If you only had to buy one ratchet for the rest of your life, and they were actually going to warranty it, maybe. Some things like that, but there's other decent brands out there for sure. You put your glasses on the screen and just learn you're not you're just goofy looking guy. My man's eyes are bad. Yeah, they are. Snap-on is silly for the most part. Never invest in only one hand tool brand. It's good advice. Never invest in only one power tool brand. I would say that too. Quack medical equipment. Violet wand. Was it the UV thing? Let me be honest. I've looked through those glasses. Yeah, you have. They're pretty bad. Violet wand can be used for acne since it generates ozone. Man, I am so sensitive to all chemicals, ozone, things like that. I can't do any of that crap. Could you read my last comment? Maybe. Let me see. Oh, just turned 22, trying to start up my new electric business. Got any tips to get my name out there? Oh yeah, man. I don't know how I missed that one. How do you get your name out there? That is a great question. You just got to get referrals, man. Referrals are key. Neighborhood app. If you can get on a neighborhood app and you get somebody talking about you in their neighborhood app, that's a really good way, because you what you got to do, you got to go to a house. It's going to sound really sketchy, but even professional companies do this, right? They have door hangers. And what you're going to do is you're going to hang something on the door in a neighborhood that you know has Federals or that has Zinskos. And just be patient. And if you do a good job, you do a fair handshake with it, they're going to tell their neighbors. They're going to tell people, and people will be on the app and they're going to say, hey, does anybody know of a good electrician? And your name will get out there. That's probably the best way to do it. I wouldn't recommend undercutting yourself. I wouldn't recommend going lower. Because you're just degrading the whole industry of what the value of electrical should be. So you got to be really careful with that. Your price should be your price, and you should know what you're worth. If you don't have the overhead and stuff, sure, you know, you don't have to be greedy with it. But I would definitely fish around for information for what other people are charging. Even if you got to get a quote yourself, even if you got to get your friend to get a quote themselves, you need to figure out what the going rate is, and then justify why you're going to be a little bit less. If you're trying to start up, you should be less than the big guys, but not that much, you know. But the neighborhood apps are really good because everyone talks on those and they recommend based on, you know, referrals and experience. And 22 is awesome, dude. That's pretty young. That's awesome. I think I was 23 when I got my journeyman's. What's a good dollar per hour? Let's see here. What did Sayer do? I just ate half a gallon of ice cream and I'm still hungry. Far from a big city. Offer service to your bank and local realtors. Yeah, get your name out there without pissing everybody else off in the area. That's tough. Small city. Independent. Let's see here. I'm firm. That's good. What's a good dollar per hour? You know, honestly, I don't even know, man. Because I was getting so screwed. My last company was paying me $22.50 to run a hospital. I mean, I was in charge of level 3 through 6 and the roof. And I had a good foreman. He was good at ordering my material and going to the meetings. But it was just me and a couple of helpers and the plans. And then he would say, you know, hey, they said we can't do it this way, even though the plans say to do it. Like that's pretty much how that went. So I pretty much built that whole thing electrically at $22.50. So I don't even know what a good going rate is. I don't even know. If you're going to do a panel, I would say here in Texas, I would think you want to charge at least $3,500 minimum. But I think the average is like $6,000. And then 10,000 used to be a lot for a panel change out for like the well-known companies. But I think I heard somebody sell one for 17,000. I think I was at a job, someone sold a panel change out. They didn't even change the sub panel, okay? They changed out the disconnect outside and they left it as a 125. They ran a new SER drop to the sub panel. Cold water, 2 ground rods, new meter, riser, an emergency disconnect, and left the original sub panel in the closet, I think. Or maybe it was in the hallway. I can't really remember. I think it was in the hallway. It wasn't in the closet. It was in the hallway by a closet. And I think they charged $17,000 for that job. So I don't even know what to tell you about that. That was just wild to me. I was like, I can't even pretend to be shocked, you know, because as the inspector, you're going to be like, imagine somebody tell you that, you'd be like, God damn, you know, so you can't do that. But I thought to myself, man, that's a lot of money for not even like 3 panels and a disconnect. You know what I mean? Like, I think if someone said, hey, my budget is $17,000 and I want to spend it all, what can you do for me? I think a generator would be involved in some of that budget. Like I don't even know how people are charging what they're charging nowadays. It's just wild. I want to know who the journeyman is at 22 that has his license with the state. I had my license at 23 in 2013 or 14. People should charge what they're worth considering the difficulty of the job. A master craftsman shouldn't be underpaid just because he can fix the big problem quickly. See you later, Jeremy. Every job has a book or suggested hours. That's true. We need to start working for ourselves again instead of this employment situation being the norm. I have a big problem with fixed hourly rate. A lot of companies will charge a flat rate. And what they'll charge. So when I worked for another company in 2017, they needed about, I'm trying to think, I think it was like 280 an hour to make a profit, to actually make it worth it. So I think one receptacle to change it out was like 90 bucks. Just one receptacle. If you did 10, I think we did it for like $700. And receptacles are $2. So, yeah, breaker was 150. GFCI was 150. Troubleshooting started at $300. If you got the plan, it was 180, I think. But man, that was before all the craziness. Now it's crazy. I don't even know what stuff costs. Yeah, so exactly. Companies will bill you out 100 to 200 depending on the trade. Let's see. I honestly don't know how this generation is going to make it. Housing cost of living is unaffordable. Yeah, it is. You look like if Moby spent 3 weeks at Olive Garden. Nice. Not worried without research, yeah. What's up, Owen? Well, yeah, figure I'd throw a live in here. Talk about ejectable current and talk about parallel paths. Journeyman and ticketed or licensed as an employee in my mind should not get less than 50 per hour. That's the lowest I ever paid any of my skilled guys. Man, I think you can probably get close to 40 as a journeyman with experience, which doesn't sound like a lot, but here in Texas, it's pretty decent. If I stopped doing what I was doing, I could probably triple what I make now. I would say I'm definitely not doing my job for the money. I'm doing it for the benefits. The benefits, the money is borderline enough, you know what I mean? Like it's okay. But the benefits are really good. And then getting to help people in the field and teach is the reward, I guess you would say. Let's see here. I appreciate it, Roosh. 184 nanometers or 256 here. Profit sharing is a good way to go too. Faster you get jobs done, the more the employer makes, and it's good motivation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like the exception of this generation. There's others out there, but definitely, I think what sets me apart, I guess, and some of my friends and stuff would be, you ready? We didn't spend a lot of money on college, trying to get where we're at. We went straight for the trades. And the longer you work, if you start at a certain amount, the longer you work, you're always making more and more money. So the sooner you start making money, the more money you make. Sure, you can go to college and you can get in debt, which doesn't matter now because you're paying that off. Well, I forgot. I'm paying that off for you to go to college. I didn't go to college, but I didn't get a check for the college that I didn't spend. So that's cool. But you can go to college and, get in debt and have student loans and then get a degree and get, mind you, a damn good job that's going to blow my salary out of the water. But everything's constantly getting more and more expensive. So the whole time you're in college, the economy is essentially, things are getting more expensive. So by the time that you started in college with this figure that you're trying to achieve of what you were hoping to get as a salary, it's essentially worth half once you get out. Where if you go now and you get in the trades, you can start getting and attaining stuff for you, for your family, for whatever you're doing, You can start getting off on your own and start acquiring things now versus not owning anything or renting whatever you're doing, whatever situation you're in, a dorm, where you really don't have, really any responsibilities. You got school and studying, but you don't have to worry about a bunch of things like you do if you rent or you own a house. You don't get to really learn responsibility, things like that. So all that stuff is worth a value, whether it's money or whatever it is. It's worth something learning that stuff. Lessons like that aren't free. They don't cost you anything, but they're not free. So when you learn how the world works, the sooner you learn how it works, the better off you're going to be. And a lot of people that are, in those situations where they're in college getting a degree that they're probably not going to use for the ultimate job that they're going to wind up getting. Your degree is more or less just going to teach you that you're trainable, I guess. Most people bounce around. If you go for something that you're aiming for and you get it, man, good for you. But that's just not usually the case. Usually what happens is you come out of college, you're going to get a job doing something that you didn't even study for, but you get to know how to do it because you went to college. And then it's not really what you wanted to do, so then you go back to more school to specialize in what you really want to do. And it's just a vicious circle. Society doesn't want us to be self-sufficient or having non-disposable things. Got to keep us busy working. Exactly. No, you don't. You can go to a community college and get the same education that you would in trade school for a fraction of the price. Yep. Can't do anything if you don't show up on the daily. Yeah. If you're going to do trade school, it makes more sense in college. Yeah, it does. I'm making a great salary at the expense of no family time isn't worth it. It's true. Making a great salary at the expense of no family time isn't worth it. Yeah. So I did that. I did that for about a year and a half. I was on a service truck. I was making a lot of money. I was making a lot of money. I was making like $55 an hour. As long as I sold, if I made the company more than $50,000 a week, I was making close to $60 an hour. And then I was getting like 20 hours of overtime on that. So you do the math of that. And that's how much some of those companies make per tech. So per tech, they're raking in easily, pretty easily, more than $100,000 a month per technician. Yeah, because 25K in a week was a pretty regular week for a lot of people. So this country making 100K a month per technician, and they're paying you 150K per year, so they can make 1.2 mil off of you. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's how that works. So the trade-off is that you're never home. You know, you get home, you eat dinner, you say hi, and you go to bed, and then you do it again. And then on the weekends, you party like the world's going out of style, man. You buy the steak and the beer and the tequila, and you invite everybody over for the weekend, and you party like crazy because you haven't seen anybody all week. And then Monday comes and you do it again. I did that for a year and a half. So it was a pretty easy decision to cut my pay in a third, becoming an inspector. But I don't know, man. Sometimes it's just like, which one? But yeah, I don't regret it. I don't regret cutting my pay at all to be with family, because I think I missed like a year and a half of my daughter's life. So I already read that. I have a master's in engineering. I make more owning a construction company than I did as an engineer. Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty cool name. The one upside down. It's pretty cool. Cowboy, what's up? It'd be nice if these guys knew some stuff before they turned to work or trade school. Good for you, Cowboy. Yeah, exactly, man. Good for you. Yeah, I did. I went to community college, but I went to Tarrant County College, which is, community. But I went for trades. Whenever I set my acuplacer, because I came out of not high school, but I had a GED. So they wanted to take a test to place me on where I should be. And my math, man, it just wasn't there. It wasn't even close. So what did I do? I became an electrician, because you don't need math to be an electrician. It's just like, dude, my first year was advanced electrical theory for electrical, for HVAC, and we are doing like the reciprocals, and equating resistance, and dude, it was a freaking nightmare, dude. I got my ass kicked with math the first year, but now really good at math. But at first it was like, you suck at math, what should you do? Oh, become an electrician. It's just like, I'm just glad it all worked out. So yeah, I did 4 years of heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Got all my certs in that. Actually got a lot of actual like national certs doing that. And then I did about 40 to 50 side jobs installing and troubleshooting um, with a buddy. Oh man, the same thing happened to my brother. Nice. So, my last 2 years that I was doing HVAC trade school, and I wanted to be an electrician to start with. A little math I cannot do if my life depended on a normal life, but at work and only at work can I do math. Don't know why, but only when I'm working, I'm smart. Well, that's a plus for your clients, man. Good thing you can only do math when you're working. Well, wife's ready for bed. I got selective math also. It's very strange. I spent 5 years in college, worked for a large engineering company for 12 years, and was never home. Yeah. Yeah. It's rough, man. If you don't have a solid relationship with whoever you're leaving at home, man, that's pretty rough. My wife would wake up with me every morning, make me, she still does, makes me breakfast every morning. Um, I never know what I'm gonna get. It's just in a paper towel and coffee. And I sleep until, well, I live 5 minutes from work, literally. So I can wake up at 7, no, sorry, 6. I can wake up at 6:45. My feet can hit the floor at 6:45. I can be at my office by 7 o'clock. We'll see you later, Jamie. All right, Paul. We'll catch you. All right. So, that's all I got, man. I consistently watched my little brother make twice what I did with no degree. Yeah. Yeah. That's rough, man. I'm glad I didn't go that route. I don't know what I would have done, but I don't know, man. Trades are just good. It's been good. Learned a lot of life skills. You get the perks of being able to fix anything at your house yourself. I don't want to sound like a kid's ass. I just want to tell you that you are an awesome husband and father. When you talk about not caring for the decrease in income to be with your family. Oh, yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, she was, what was she, 2? I think she was 2. I missed out on all that, man. All of it. It's like the best years. Right before they really get like real active, where they're still like interested in everything. Missed it all. Just remember, use your body right in the trades and work smart and safe. That's absolutely true. I got a crick in my neck right now, man. It's like interesting right now. But I started a construction company and never looked back 25 years ago and still breaking records. Good for you, man. That's awesome. I'm so fight to be in the trade. Don't let the unions tell you differently. My union will not accept my state approved electrical schooling. That's crazy. They're lucky to have you. Yeah, they are. I had a kid right when I transferred to university and chose family over career because my dad worked 2 jobs and was never around. My parents stayed in Bermuda. My grandma took care of me out here. So my grandma was like my mom. And then when she got really sick, well, no, she didn't get really sick. My mom got really sick, and my mom died. And that was my grandma's daughter. So, interestingly enough, my dad did what any man would probably do and found himself another woman, which was fine, except that he moved the lady into the house, the same house that my grandma was living in, which was, my mom's mom. So you can imagine how that went, like a ton of bricks, right? So she started having like sciatic issues and really, really bad mental things going on, obviously. And I pretty much kidnapped her, man. I picked her up like a baby, put her in my truck, and I drove her to my house. And we never went back. So, yeah, she took care of me. I took care of her in the end. If we are the people, who are they? We the people is everybody, man. One voice. We the people. They would be the tyrants, I guess. These red absent fathers make sons who turn out to be great dads. Yeah. You won't know who we the people are until it's time to be we the people. Good night, man. See you later. Take it easy. I'm legal to work under a California state license journeyman for any company, but if I want to work for the union, I have to go back to school for the next 5 years. Yeah, well, they've got that apprenticeship program, and they've got all of their buddies that need to. Everyone needs a piece of the pie. So, if you want to be in line for the jobs that they've got and the benefits that they've got, and there's certain jobs for everybody. If you there's a guy that's going to do something, there's a guy that's going to do another thing. You can't do too much of your own scope. So there's going to be one guy that's going to run the conduit, there's going to be one guy that's going to run the wire, there's going to be one guy that's going to do, and that's the way it is. And that's the way it's got to be. That's going to be his job. So it is a little bit more laid back, I guess you would say. If you want to be a part of that, you got to play the game. And they're going to want to train you how they want to train you. If you don't want to do that, you're going to work for somebody else. But being in California, I don't see what you're going to do. Subscribe and hit the thumbs up. Yeah. I appreciate it, JB. Did someone say pie? Good night. Thanks. Yeah. All right. So, we got to get, but I'm looking for the comment, man. Someone's got some extra 4 amp hour batteries. Let's see here. I think it's Jamie. Jamie has 4 amp hour batteries. Hit me up, dude. Let me know. If you have an extra 4 amp, dude, I will certainly take it. I gotta go buy another 850, dude. I miss my 850 a lot. I miss my DeWalt 850. Hit the thumbs up. California seems like it's getting ready for a society to collapse. Yeah. All right. That's all I got. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Great session tonight. Thanks for your time. No, I appreciate it, man. We'll see you guys later. 850. Didn't Santa Wilson send you an 860? Yeah, I need something to compare it to. And I think for you guys to understand how big the 860 is, I need an 850. So I gotta find one. I can't find one. Like I just can't find one. It's gonna take Amazon to get me one like 8 days or something. At a different community college, literally miles away from the community college that credits my union. Dang, dude. Yeah, there's gonna be something you can do. I don't know. But that is unfortunate, man. That's a tough one for sure. I don't know very much about California. All right, well, see you guys. We're out of here.